The question is, I just highlighted some small space using visual mode, meaning not visual line mode, visual mode. But when I paste it, it pastes on that line. I want to be able to get a new line in and do that, effectively doing an O for me, leaving insert, and then pasting it in, right? So let's go and edit our vimrc. We can go down here, and we can actually just make up our own one right now. We can do, how about this one? Leader P. So I'm going to do space P, and what it's going to do is it's going to do O. So now I've done O. Let me erase this thing. I've done an O. I've created a new line at this point. I'm in no remap mode, right? And then I'm going to do a paste, and there we go. So I believe that should be it. It might be a shift paste. I think it's a shift paste. There we go. So I'm going to take this and let's see what happens. Let's shout out %sign. There we go. I'm going to highlight just this word. I'm going to yank it, and I'm going to go leader P. There we go. Awesome. I already had something called with a different P. Oopsies. You know what we forgot? We forgot to leave insert mode. Escape. There we go. Shout out. Remember, oopsies. I have already a leader P mapped item. That's why there's that long wait. But let's just imagine that I don't. So leader P. Oh my goodness. What did I do? Oh, I forgot this. Did I forget to shout it out? Oh, I copied that. That's why. All right, there we go. So let's yank it. Leader P. There we go. We just went and we just did that. A little bit off, but you get the idea. So if I notice that I end a little bit down, I could follow it up with a J. Shout it out. Whoopsies. Oh, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I must have done something wrong here. Did I copy that somewhere else? It's supposed to be sourcing. But anyways, so let's just source %sign. So I should be able to leader P. And now I should paste it, and I should be able to go up. J is the wrong way. You get the idea, though, right? I meant to do K. There we go. DI word. Take that. Shout it out. And leader P. There we go. I was able to do it and put myself back on that line. So you can kind of experiment around and play with this and create things you really like. Now, I do want to show you something. So we've kind of put all of these things together. We have a bunch of knowledge. Let me share with you some of my favorite remaps right now before we get into anything else, because this is just like we're in the advanced text editing section, and so I want to really add some awesome ones. So this one I think is one of my favorite ones. Now, you have some yanked text, but you don't want to lose it, right? You want to be able to paste it, replace some text, but you don't want to lose your original yank. Now, there's a couple ways we could go about this. One, you could use your history to paste back out or paste from your history and always keep using it. Or two, we could create a really awesome remap. I'm always in favor of super awesome remaps. So let's do it. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to go like this. When we're in visual mode, no recursive execution, map, we're then going to go leader P, right? Letter P. That's the English version. Doesn't work. We're going to do leader P. And we're going to do quotes underscore P. Now, what this, or quotes underscore D, capital P. What this is going to do is we're going to delete our current selection and send it to the void register. The void register is simply a dev null, right? It's going to yank it to nowhere. And that's it. So let's shout out this, and let's do foo bar baz. So I'm going to take foo, I'm going to highlight it, and then I'm going to highlight it, and then leader P. I've now replaced it. If I look at my registers, you'll see I still have foo, whereas if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have had it. So now I can do this again. Leader P. I have now replaced it again without losing my original one. That's pretty darn awesome. Those are one of those that are just the greatest things ever. There's one other one that I didn't show you. Paragraphs. Remember how I told you about contiguous blocks of code jumping by paragraph? Well, guess what? DAP, delete by paragraph, right? Delete the outsides of the paragraph. Boom, works. DIP also works. You can delete contiguous blocks of code like that. So let's do another one of these really awesome ones. I hope you're ready. So in visual mode, leader Y. And let's do a plus sign right here and do that. So what does this do? Well, you don't know what the plus register is. The plus register, if you have the right things installed, it doesn't always work on Mac. You have to, I think it's like Vim GTK or something like that, that you have to ports install or brew install or ask Tim Cook if he can install it. I don't know what Apple requires. I know it's pretty locked down. But once you get it on, it allows Vim to communicate with your system clipboard. I think NeoVim has it by default. Maybe Vim has it by default at this point. It's been so long, I forget. What it does is it will send it to your system clipboard. So this is fantastic. So now when I do this, if I highlight something and I go leader Y, I now have yanked it, but I've yanked it into my Control V. I now can paste into my system clipboard, which is fantastic. There is a mode to make it so that every single yank will go into your system clipboard, but you don't always want that, right? Only sometimes do you want that. I had that mode on for a little bit, but then I kept like losing stuff because I was like, I'm going to copy this address over here. I'm going to put it inside this doc. Let me delete this. Oh crap, I just wrote over it again. So instead, I like to control when I go into the system clipboard versus the Vim clipboard. And so I found that just to be incredible. But oh wait, there's more. So let's do the exact same thing, but in normal mode. So you're thinking, what does that do? I mean, what could that do? Well, let me show you. You'll see it down low, like right there. I'm going to go space Y. Now look at what it's actually typed for me. It typed double quotes plus Y. I am now ready to yank into my clipboard, but now I can do a motion. How about AP? Let's highlight and yank that whole contiguous paragraph into my clipboard, right? So you can now remap it in normal mode to be able to grab these large sections of text and put them right into your clipboard. Oh my goodness, this is the greatest thing, and I'd be just remiss if I did not mention Asborn. It's a buddy of ours on Twitch. He turned me on to this. This was the greatest thing ever. This, oh my goodness, this is just, I love this thing. This is fantastic. He also showed me one more that was fantastic. He does capital Y and then does, let's see, what is it? He does GGG. So you can imagine what this thing does. GG goes to the top, right? G goes down to the bottom. Well, if I go space Y, I just copied the whole file, right? And so it's like a quick way for me to be able to just grab the entire file into my system clipboard. So if I'm in Vim, this is fantastic. Obviously, if I'm outside of Vim, I can use like Xclip and pipe a file into it. Pretty simple. But if I'm in Vim, I can do the exact same thing without going back out to the command line. I find this to be very, very nice. Or having to do something like VG, go down here, space Y, right? I don't want to have to do all that. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing. There's a couple other ones, but I have to look them up. And so let's just look these ones up because they're very fantastic. So these two are incredible. I just always forget how to write them. Effectively, remember when we highlight a region and you press colon, it puts these funny characters down right here? Those funny characters have real meanings. Single quote opener is the beginning of a highlighted region. Single quote close is the end of a highlighting region. And so effectively what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this special command called a move, and I'm going to move it to the outside of a highlighted region, and then I'm going to hit enter. Then I'm going to highlight my previous highlight, which is GV. Very fantastic command, but it's really only used for like plugins. So if I go like this, watch this. I highlight this region, I leave, and then I do GV. It will re-highlight my previous highlight. I'm going to press equal sign, which will automatically indent or format my code, and then redo GV again, which will re-highlight my section. And what effectively does this do? Well, if I highlight this and do Shift-J, I can move code using capital K and capital J. That's pretty darn neat. And if there's functions, this probably doesn't work, but if I do this, it does work. Awesome. It will automatically indent them and put them right where I wanted them to be. I mean, this is pretty darn cool. All right, this is pretty darn cool. Oh man, you just get to come up with these cool little remaps to just do a lot of pretty awesome stuff. Those are all fantastic. They're just ways that I just make Vim a little bit better, right? These are things that are just super hard to express in other editors, but are super simple to do here. And I just absolutely think that that thing is fantastic.